What's up, YouTube? It's me, your guy, T-Belly here. Welcome to your World Gaming News, brought to us by Alpha Nerd Entertainment. And I am pumped for the next episode, and I hope you are too. Let's freaking go!
What is going on, everybody? I'm Steve from Alpha Nerd Entertainment, and this is your World Gaming News. How good was that? Let's give a shout out to T-Belly for that unexpected and awesome intro. What can I say? Kings recognize kings. With that being said, we got a great episode today. We got all kinds of things to talk about. Plenty of cool discussion pieces, some cool game stores to check out. But before we do that, let's vibe. Let's do the usual, and let's have a little bit of fun. If you don't like fun, then skip ahead about 2 minutes. But if you're skipping ahead 2 minutes, we don't want you around this channel. Das Berliner! Why would anybody skip this? Do you have no soul? Are you an NPC? Grab out your drinks and fucking party along. Make sure no more music plays there from my PlayStation 5. Let's get a moment to compose ourselves here. Let's help out poor old Magneto. We'll talk about him later. This is fantastic. We're leaving all of this in. Nothing but quality around here. And X-Men Legends has fallen to the floor. It is what it is. We're going to roll with it and have some fun. Woo! This is good. This is good. First off, the Berliner. Can is gone. It's empty. So the beer's almost gone. The Berliner German beer, always the best. Still settling for the Jacobs Creek here. It's growing on me, but I'm missing my California Moscato. One tariff that affects me. Wine. It's laughable. What's going on? We got the Predator in the house. We got the Seinfeld house. We got the Ghostbuster Ecto 1. We're having a good time. We're having a good time. We got some really cool stuff in this video. Once again, shout out to T-Belly for the cool intro. We're going to be talking about the Retro Rivals. We're going to be talking about Video Game Lover 58. Responses to both of their recent good videos. Some cool discussion pieces there. Visiting 3 kick-ass game stores. So fun to venture. It is. It's been such a great excuse to just go out while I'm working, while I'm in new parts of Ontario, and explore and check out new game stores, politely ask for permission to film, get told yes, make some fun purchases, and add to my otherwise humble collection. It's been a blast, and it's been even more fun sharing it with you guys. So we're going to be checking out some game stores. So before we check out those game stores, we will do a rant about Magneto. I mentioned we will talk about Retro Rivals and Video Game Lover 58 and give some responses to that. And we'll be talking about some other things in this episode of Your World Gaming News. But before we do that, we might as well check out those kick-ass cool game stores and what I picked up. Pretty much smoked it all. It's a bit of a bummer. It's a good thing we still got some wine. Your World Gaming News is all about having a good time. And what the fuck is this?
Canadian poutine. Does this mean that you're going to let me report the sports on Your World Gaming News?
Butters, I said maybe. Canadian Butters, I said maybe you can do the sports. I still thought maybe I could report the sports.
You're reporting the sports? Hamburgers. I think I'm way more popular.
Yes, I do think you'll be quite popular with the viewers. I must admit. But I don't know, Canadian Butters. I'm not sure if it's in my best interest to let you do the sports.
Let's face it, you need me. People want to watch me.
You raised some valid points, but just let me give it some thought. Let me give it some thought, and we will see. Otherwise, we're going to move forward with Your World Gaming News. Butters, we're going to thank you for being here, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll let the audience decide if they want Canadian Butters doing the sports. Butters, I'll let you report the helicopter that's going by right now. You're well familiar with being interrupted during filming.
Oh, nobody knows your pain worse than me. That's all I fucking hear every time I hit goddamn record. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Have a fucking drink for me.
So you know my pain. That is annoying. Well, anyways, folks, let's go check out those game stores that I visited and see what I picked up. I had a lot of fun, so I hope you enjoy. With that being said, if you're having a drink with me, cheers.
Okay, what's going on, guys? So we're in Etobicoke, which is technically a part of Toronto. We're about to check out this place right here, the Game Horde. We're going to see what it's all about and see if I can find anything for the collection. Okay, guys, so yeah, the Game Horde. I definitely liked it. Very clean, very nice store. Got some pretty sweet pickups, but I'll save that for when I get back to the game room. Okay, what's going on, everybody? So I'm back home, so I thought let's check out the pickups that I got at the Game Horde in Toronto, technically Etobicoke. We picked up a sweet copy of a game that I used to own that I beat. I beat both the Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena, and more importantly, right there, the Escape from Butcher's Bay, the 2004 classic, which is the real meat and potatoes of this game. Now, Assault on Dark Athena is still a good game with superior graphics, but Escape from Butcher's Bay is where it's at when picking up a copy of this. So, definitely stoked to possibly replay this sometime in the near future. You know, the backlog's always never ending, so who knows how long it'll take for me to get around to it. But I did really enjoy this game when I beat it, you know, back in around 2009, 2010. So, yeah, at some point I'll get around to playing both of those again. Here's a game I used to play with my nephew way back in around 2004. He had it on the Cube, The Incredibles, Rise of the Underminer, which is, you know, a unique story that's not related to the film. I remember being surprised by this game. I thought it was really, quite frankly, good. And I really enjoyed playing it with him, and I never did get to beat it. So, you know, now is the time to beat The Incredibles, Rise of the Underminer. Cool co-op 2-player game, by the way. Obviously, I'll be playing it by myself, or, I don't know, maybe the girlfriend will want to join and be whoever this guy is, Mr. Friezo or Frozo or whatever the hell his name is. He's pretty cool. Cool game, anyways. Look forward to replaying that. So from PS3 to PS2 to PS1, we got Rayman by Ubisoft for the PS1. Cool 2D Rayman game. It was only last year that I beat the first Rayman game I've ever played, which was Rayman Legends, which I thought was absolutely excellent, and it was in my top 3 of best games that I beat last year for new games that I played. So, you know, definitely cool to dive down the Rayman rabbit hole and see if this one is also good. So, look forward to playing that for the PS1. And the final pickup from the Game Horde is a Japanese Diddy Kong Racing. Now, you might think, why did I get this? Well, 1, I got it for a good price. And 2, it plays on an N64. What they did is they changed the backings to North American, so now it will fit in to a North American N64, and he assured me that it will work. Now, I'm curious to see how much, you know, Japanese is actually in the game when you play it. Like when you select the character, will it say something different than Diddy? Probably not. You know, normally I wouldn't get something like this, but I thought, what the heck? Let's just grab it. Let's pick it up. Let's have something unique to the collection. And I always liked Diddy Kong Racing when me and my buddies used to play it back in the day. So those are my pickups from the Game Horde.
Okay, what's going on, everybody? We're about to check out a store called We Got Games. We're going to go take a look inside and see what they got. I see something cool over there. Goodfellas and John Wick 2. Ooh, Air Force One. Another absolute banger. My parents told me Beekeeper is awesome. I'll have to take their word for it. Terminator 2 and Total Recall. Ooh, Sonic All-Stars Racing Transform. Extremely underrated game. Right? Yeah, it is very good. I fully agree. No, Superman. Ooh, Star Wars Pod Racer. I might have to get that. Okay, so we are back home, so let's just take a look and see what I got at the whole We Got Games from Brampton, Ontario, Canada. For $5 whole, I picked up Andretti Racing for the PS1. Now, I got this game because my old man never shut the fuck up about this game. He had it on PC, and he still says to this day that it's one of the best racing games. So, you know, I gotta be honest, I looked at the graphics on the back. It looks pretty dope. It really does. And, you know, that man played a lot of racing games in his time. So for it to really leave the lasting impression it has over all the racing games he's played over all the years, I'm going to take his word on it and give it a try. And for $5, it's worthwhile adding to the PS1 collection. A game I surprisingly didn't have for the Genesis, Road Rash 3. I still need Road Rash 1 as well, if you can believe that. So not much to say about Road Rash 3 other than it is actually an underrated Road Rash. A lot of people act like it's not that great, and truth be told, it's no Road Rash 1, it's no Road Rash 2, but it's still a really sweet Road Rash game, and definitely an awesome game, and definitely a must-have for the Genesis. We got another N64 title there, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. This game should really be called Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer, but anyways, now I can actually see some weird writing there. Looks like it's pencil. I might be able to remove that. I didn't even notice it when I saw it in the store because the store was kind of dark, but yeah, I'll grab an eraser and see if I can remove that. Nonetheless, I've heard good things about this game, and I've always been a big fan of Star Wars, especially the prequels. Well, I don't want to say especially, but I've always had a lot of love for the prequels when a lot of people really hated them. I think they're nowhere near as bad as everyone makes them out to be. They're almost like they're so bad they're good. And a game I've been wanting for a long time, and I finally picked it up. I talked him down $10 because I picked up a bunch of things, and he you know, had no issue with it whatsoever. So Beyond Good and Evil for PS2 by Ubisoft is a very highly praised game for the PS2. If anyone has played this, let me know. Let me know your thoughts about this game. Its graphics definitely seem appealing to me. Honestly, I've just heard nothing but good things about this game. Like really, really good things. Not like, oh, it's pretty good. It's like everything you read about it and hear about it is just, oh, Beyond Good and Evil, it's excellent. So I look forward to trying this, and it's been on my radar for a while. But those are my pickups from We Got Games in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. And it's always cool to add a few more things to the collection.
Okay, what's going on, guys? So we went down, checked out the falls a little bit, and I'm gonna take a little break here before I get back to work. But we're gonna check out Gaming Gators in Niagara Falls. I'm just a little torn about that name. It's a very strange name. But let's see what the store has to offer. Oh no, Rambo 3. Not again. I hate that game.
What's going on, guys? So we are back, and I wanted to show you my pickups from Gator Games in Niagara Falls. So I only got 2 games, but you know, that's not so bad because they're both Genesis games. Simpsons, Bart's Nightmare. I'm not gonna lie, when I looked down and saw this, I thought I was buying Virtual Bart. I really like Virtual Bart, and I was a little bit disappointed when I realized I bought Bart's Nightmare. I looked up Simpsons games ranked. This game's ranked significantly higher than Virtual Bart. But you know what that means? It means I still need to find Virtual Bart. Anyways, we got Bart's Nightmare, and that's still pretty cool. Also, a game I've been wanting for a long time. I've beaten the first 2 levels of this game, testing it out with emulation. I also have it on the Sega 50 Classics or whatever on PlayStation 4/PlayStation 5. And, what I played of this game I have enjoyed. And I thought, you know what, it's due time I pick up Decap Attack. It's a sweet little game. Shout out to 21 Sandwich, who's done a no-death run of this game, and the only no-death run I know of in the community. And I think that's pretty cool. I bare minimal, I want to at least play and beat this game and see it through. Definitely something I've backlogged for far too long, so hopefully I get to this sooner than later. But anyways, those are my 2 sweet Genesis pickups from Gator Games in Niagara Falls. Welcome back to Your World Gaming News. I gotta say, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun visiting these game stores, and believe me, we'll be visiting some more. And yes, I will be saving the best for last on some degree when it comes to the game stores in my hometown, specifically 2 or 3 of them, because there will be a total of 4 of them. They hit a little closer to home, as far as, a little bit of nostalgia and a little bit of love. So, I've been having a blast going around, visiting game stores, adding to my collection, doing Your World Gaming News, getting low-key bombs, and having a good time. This is an interesting little journey. If I can really speak quite comfortably just off the record, I made this video a little bit out of order. And it's at this time that I've actually drank more than what you would see in the intro. So it's like, this was done after what you might get to see coming. And it's been a lot of fun. But nonetheless, I don't know, we got some really cool things to talk about. We're going to continue to talk about those things. And one of those things will be, yes, me giving Canadian Butters the opportunity to bring us the sports. Canadian Butters with the sports is something that's going to be coming very soon. But before we do that, for no apparent reason other than to just be completely ridiculous and have fun with this whole gaming ensemble that is Your World Gaming News, we're going to finish our wine, or at least most of it, and have a little puff of the old greenery, which is always good for the soul. Took a little bit to get going there, but once we got her going, she got going real good. I love video games. And I love Your World Gaming News. And with that, I think we might throw things over to Canadian Butters with the sports.
I'm Canadian Butters, and this is the sports. In WWE, Hulk Hogan went head-to-head with Diesel, Big Daddy Cool, in a one-sided beatdown that saw Hulk Hogan looking pretty old. Hulk Hogan should probably give his head a shake, thinking he has any business being in the squared circle with Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Diesel absolutely whooped his fucking ass. Good job, Diesel. In mixed martial arts over in the UFC, we saw a championship bout between Bahel Forget the Name Muhammad versus new up-and-comer Jack Della something or other. Either way, the new up-and-comer Australian really brought the pain to the former champ, giving him a one-sided beatdown en route to the decision victory. And you can see in the final minute of the fight, he brought the heat and showed the judges enough what it took to become the new champ. Bahel Forget the Name Muhammad. I'll forget it now. No longer the champ. What a loser, and congrats to the new fella. In the world of hockey, the Detroit Red Wings and Chicago Blackhawks went head-to-head, and this turned into a one-sided fair also, with Detroit Red Wings absolutely beating down on the Blackhawks. My oh my, 5-1 victory wasn't even close. Shifting gears to the NBA, laughter indeed. Patrick Ewing should give his head a shake. 8-2 was the final victory for the New York Knicks over the Atlanta Hawks. What a snooze fest. Sad, sad, sad. In a significantly more entertaining match, the Minnesota Timberwolves came out on top in an absolute nail-biter over top of Reggie Miller's Indiana Pacers by a score of 56-3, getting a buzzer-beater victory right near at the end. But the Knicks get redemption tonight as they get a chance to face off against the Boston Celtics. I'm Canadian Butters. Give your head a shake, and that is the sports. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to Stefanos Furcio with the weather.
Hey, bada bing, bada boom, Stefanos Furcio in the his house with the weather. Thank you to Canadian Butters for bringing it over here. How's the weather been? The weather's been beautiful. It's been sun in Chicago. It's been sun in Philly. It's been sun in Toronto, in Hamilton, in Montreal. It's been sun everywhere. Hey, yeah, it's good times, the sunshine, getting some sun on the skin. I'm still pale as a ghost, but we want to become the bronze Adonis because that's what's up. Stefanos Furcio saying, how's the weather? The weather's beautiful. It's warm, it's sunny, it's glorious times, and the summer's right around the corner. So with that being said, get out and get some sun and enjoy the weather. So there is something else I want to talk about in the community, a video I saw by Video Game Lover 58. He did a really cool video that I honestly quite enjoyed. He talked about his experience with the Sega Genesis and when he first got it 20 years ago in 2005 when he was only 11 years old. Feel free to go check out his video, but the reason I wanted to talk about it and give a bit of a response myself is because I really enjoyed hearing about his introduction to the system. For one, I couldn't believe he's only 31 years of age. It really made me feel, quite frankly, pretty old. But more than anything, it made me want to talk about my experience with the Sega Genesis. And when I would first get it, Christmas, 1991. So here's the thing. In 1991, in the fall, my family was in the transition from going from NES to the 16-bit world. And well, I wanted a Super Nintendo. It was just coming out for that Christmas season in Canada, and that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted, that's all I cared about. Well, my old man knew that my mom wasn't going to let us have both consoles, so he wanted the Genesis. So he campaigned for the Genesis. I remember he took me to Radio Shack And at Radio Shack, they had all three on display. This was getting close to the December season. I think this was probably in November at this point. And, you know, I saw they had TurboGrafx 16 on display with Bonk's Adventure. And they had Sonic 1 on display for the Genesis and Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. And all I wanted was the Super Nintendo, but my dad's like, you gotta check out this Genesis. They got this cool game called Streets of Rage where you can call the cops and bring them in as backup, and they blow up all the dudes on the screen. And I was just like, I don't know. I saw Sonic, I got to play Sonic. Started convincing me. He showed me Streets of Rage 1. He started to sell the idea to me, and I was kind of like, you know what? I played Sonic, and I remember really enjoying it. And thinking, damn, this is fresh. This is new. And it was big, it was bright, it was colorful, and I really enjoyed it. Well, the interesting thing about my parents and Christmas was that the big gift always came from them. I guess they wanted to make sure that we gave credit where credit was due, and that we didn't give credit to an imaginary person named Santa. Santa gave a bunch of gifts and all, but never the big one. The big one would come from my parents. And while that year, that Christmas, 91, I would get my Sega Genesis and Sonic 1. Santa would get me Streets of Rage 1, but I tell you, the reason I wanted to give this response and share that story is because when Video Game Lover talked about it in 2005, I thought, one, it was really cool that a guy like him was interested in playing the Genesis in 2005 when most guys his age, at age 11, were more interested in playing Cube and Xbox, or were excited for the release of the PlayStation 3 and all those games that would be relevant and big at the time. So he was playing the Genesis in a time where it wasn't relevant. I think that's awesome. But I can say it's a privilege to be old, because it was the best time ever to actually play the Genesis when it was relevant and new and in competition with the Super Nintendo. It reminds me of that console war that went on at that time. And, you know, the schoolyard talk really remained huge. You know, there were all kinds of Sega versus Nintendo conversations. We were all really enthralled by this competition, as everybody was. And all I can say is that it feels good to be old, because to play the Genesis and Super Nintendo in their heyday is a gaming privilege and a piece of gaming history that I'm low-key a part of. And, you know, him talking about the Genesis was a great video, and I did really enjoy hearing it. But I got to say, nothing tops living it. And seeing the release of Sega CD and 32X and being a Sega guy and getting to get those things while they were fresh and while they were new, it was a really great experience. I remember when my one friend got the Saturn when it was brand spanking new, and that just seemed like crazy and, you know, unexpected, because I wasn't expecting the Saturn to come out. But the Genesis, Christmas 91, was beyond special. The following year, I would get Streets of Rage 2 and Sonic 2, and things would just continue to get better and better and better. All I can say is that it was cool to watch his video and hear his thoughts on the Genesis, and looking back at his time with the Genesis. Looking back at my time with the Genesis, everyone knows I'm a huge Genesis guy, but I think about those early days in the early 90s and even mid-90s, and there's nothing more special in the gaming world than thinking back to those times. Nothing can top it. There's been a lot of good times gaming. I remember that my first time getting a PS1, legendary. Seriously, legendary and underrated. I remember when I got my PS3. Very underrated time, very underrated generation, and nowadays very nostalgic to stop and think about. You know, it's been a long time. I was maybe 26, 27 when I got my PS3. I can't exactly tell you when. I got it in about 2007, 2008. But I was young, and much younger than I am now, and that was a very interesting time as well. But nothing tops that 16-bit era, that transition from getting your first console and putting that old Nintendo into the closet and no longer caring about it too. That was an interesting thing. We all love Nintendo these days, and, you know, for right reasons. It's a iconic, legendary console, and a pretty amazing time too. But that time when you were like, I don't care about Nintendo, I want this 16-bit game, you know, this 16-bit next upgrade. And yeah, I remember wanting the Super Nintendo. And I remember still playing, because I believe Super Mario 3 was released in North America in 1990. So in Christmas 91, you know, I spent most of 91 playing a lot of Super Mario 3 and other Nintendo games that I owned. But man, I was already ready for the next thing. We were all ready. We were all excited. And Nintendo was yesterday's news. You know, we didn't care anymore. We were pumped. really pumped for the next thing. And the next thing for me would become the console and generation that would define me as a gamer. And yeah, looking back to the Genesis, absolutely legendary. So on that, we're going to have one more puff for the Sega Genesis. Something else I wanted to talk about was a fantastic video I saw by the Retro Rivals. First, I just want to say I've seen a lot of game rooms, and there is no game room that would absolutely blow my mind to see in person more than theirs. Their room, it's incredible. It is incredible. It's spacious. It's well designed. It's aesthetically pleasing. I love the way they have the modern games on display face forward, like an actual game store, or the way DVDs were on display. Not everyone has the privilege to have such shelving and such space to display those modern games in such a way. The whole room is just legendary, which makes me want to talk about that video. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Check it out. It's good. It's a good video. It's a good topic of discussion. They talk about where do they go from here? What do they do? In the video, they talk about how they have to move, so they're going to have to leave that amazing game room behind. I can say, and I can identify with the idea of starting a new project in a new home. I can see the fun in that. I can see the enjoyment in that. But I wanted to lend my thoughts and perhaps my opinion or advice on where to go moving forward. Now, what I've taken from them as people, Scott is more willing to part with stuff, where Jen is a little bit more of perhaps a hoarder and unable to attach and let go of some of the games. This is my belief, and with my experience in gaming, I have to say this, and I think it's good advice. I think the older I get, the more I value my time, and the more I'm willing to just, give up on a game. Well, not necessarily give up, because my stubborn side of things always wants to see games through. Even if I'm not enjoying them, if I started them, I want to finish them, but I am growing past that. Why am I growing past that? Because time is limited. And I also have come to terms with the fact that if a game isn't pulling me in and I'm not overly enjoying it, why continue it? Which leads me to another thing. If you do complete a game and you're just like, it was okay. It was all right. Not the best, not the worst, but nothing memorable. Nothing that's going to remain in your top 200, maybe not even your top 500. Those games, I say, hasta la vista, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Sell them. Make the space. Reduce. Be like Scott and be willing to downsize. If a game just doesn't leave a lasting impression, why keep it? Why let it take up space? Get something for it. Whether it's money in back or trade in, preferably money back so you can put it towards the new game room you need to build. I have really grown to appreciate the games that leave more of a lasting impression, the games that give me more replay value, the games that I tend to pull off the shelf more often and continue to get gameplay out of me, opposed to those games that don't draw me in and just don't leave anything to be remembered. Again, when a game feels like a chore to play, let's normalize leaving it. Let's normalize leaving it. Now, in the past, like I said, I would be stubborn. I would just beat it because I've started it. In many cases, I'll still do this. But in many cases, I just know, no, my time is limited. Let's play something new. So with those games, sell them. Reduce. You're talking about the ability of downsizing. In the video, they talk about this. It's a great video. Go watch it, guys. It is a fantastic topic of discussion. It's a great crossroads where they are in their life moving and with their age. They're both older than me. I'm currently 43, but I'm still getting up there and I still know what it's like and I still value my time as a 43-year-old man. And if a game just isn't pulling me in, get rid of it. And if you beat a game and it has nothing, you don't feel, get rid of it. All killer, no filler, like the name of the album by Sum 41, is what your game rooms should all be. Whether they're big, medium, or small, keep it all killer, no filler. Get rid of the fucking wasted space. Get the money for it and use it towards the game room for flair or swag or whatever it may be. And that's my advice to them. Get comfortable and normalize the idea of getting rid of the stuff that leaves no impression, and also the idea of games that don't keep you dialed in and drawn in. However, at the same time, when I played Red Dead Redemption 2 in the first chapter, that game could have been a game that I would have ended up pawning. Instead, it ended up becoming my favorite game of all time. So, what the fuck do I know? All I can say is, great video, guys. Go watch it. It's a great video. And honestly, again, let's normalize just letting go of games that don't pull us in. It's not like you're quitting. It's, you know, you're more making it you're making a decision on what to do with your time that for all of us is limited. And why give a game that you're just looking to get done? Why waste another 3 to 10 hours of a game if you're just wanting it to be over? If you're wanting the experience to end, why even be a part of the experience? Don't waste your time. Instead, pull something else off the shelf. Our backlogs are never ending. I have enough games through emulation and original hardware that I won't get to all of them. So let go of the ones that suck, sell the ones that stink, sell the ones that are even mid. All killer, no filler. 100% is my opinion and my response to the overall premise of their video. And yeah, just enjoy the project within that game room and keep up the great content. With that, I'm gonna have a swig of this deliciousness. Well, what are we going to talk about now? As we take the time to close out this video, when we bring it to an end, there are still a few things I want to talk about in these long-winded episodes that are Your World Gaming News. The one thing I wanted to talk about is our buddy here, Magneto, before I pour this delicious German beer called Hechler. Yes, das ist sehr gut. But anyhow, Magneto. Magneto is a great character, great villain, great anti-hero. Just all-around fantastic character, but he is not without his flaws. Something that's been bothering me about Magneto for years. And I've just never found the time to get around to talking about it until I saw this meme for like the 5th, 6th, 7th time. And I finally was like, you know what? Next opportunity I get, I'm going to bitch about Magneto and why he's not a level 10 mutant. Now, here, quick disclaimer. DC Comics, all about fantasy. With fantasy, the sky's the limits. The limitations to what a character can do is as far as the fantasy can wander. So that's why DC characters are generally more powerful than Marvel characters, because Marvel characters like to stick to fiction, science fiction, creating some sense of realism. And well, they are comics and they are silly and they don't make a whole lot of sense, you know, because truth be told, if you read too much into it, a radioactive spider isn't going to turn you into a fucking Spider-Man. So I shouldn't read too much into it. However, when Magneto controls all metals in the Marvel Universe world, I can't help but be irritated. Because let's face it, things like copper, silver, gold, aluminum, titanium are not magnetic. They have no magnetic field within them. They have no magnetism at all. So what does that do then? Does that make him a broken character? It kind of does. He's not significantly as powerful as he's made out to be. Now, they have to ignore this, because if they didn't, now the humans can shoot Magneto and fire weapons at him using things like titanium. But the thing is that when I see this fucking meme, I can't help but get annoyed, because on no level could Magneto ever do anything to Thanos, or Thor, or Iron Man, or even Hulk. I remember arguing with somebody briefly in a live stream a couple years ago about Hulk versus Magneto. And no disrespect to Magneto, he's a fantastic character, but he is not remotely on the level of Hulk. Of course, a lot of people should know that modern movies don't display Hulk in his natural fashion, or displaying his truest abilities. He's seriously a person that can potentially beat Superman, something Magneto could remotely never do. However, on the same notion, if I start thinking about it, the fact that they have Hulk versus Wolverine is also stupid, because how could a guy who can rival Superman have trouble with Wolverine? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But that's my issue with getting older, is you start to look at these things, and objectively, they're kind of dumb. So, you know, that's why I look forward to people who do handle these characters. They write them with some kind of credibility, because Magneto just controlling all metals is quite frankly stupid. And I'm just annoyed by it. It's dumb. Yes, Iron Man would lose to Magneto in an iron suit, but Tony Stark has enough money and brains to make a gold and titanium suit and absolutely decimate and destroy Magneto like it's nobody else's business. And honestly, how powerful would his force field be, just him generating magnetism within the air? It wouldn't be that strong of a shield, but maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I'm not reading too much into the fact that he controls all metals. That's stupid. At the end of the day, aluminum, copper, silver, gold, titanium, these metals have no magnetism. That part about Magneto is stupid. The least they could have done is acknowledge that and maybe gave him some other powers that kind of counter that slight inability. They could have gave him an ally who shoots literal iron from his body, kind of like Marrow shoots bone from her body. So he could have had an ally who just shoots metal into the air. Magneto starts darting it around and reshaping it and doing all kinds of things. Also, furthermore, it just proves the fact that someone with a high-level telekinesis ability is just better than Magneto all around. Because he ain't ever going to be tossing any trees around, but somebody with the power of telepathy certainly can. So is he a level 10 mutant? He's not. I love Magneto. I love his suit. I love his character. I like what he represents. I love the Brotherhood. He's a well-written character, but he is with flaw. And that flaw annoys me the older I get. Stupid. Put Iron Man in a copper suit. Put Captain America in a fucking titanium suit, and he's gonna run after this son of a bitch and take him down. His only chance of winning is levitating and getting the fuck out of there. Because Cap gonna fuck him up in a titanium suit. Anyways, let's move on and have a sip of delicious beer, but I've been waiting years to rant about Magneto and why he's not a level 10 mutant and why he's kind of a semi-poorly written character with character flaws. And it kind of ruins him. Did I ruin Magneto for you? Jump in the comments and let me know. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. It's kind of a hard point to argue. I am reading into it. But man, Marvel Comics are known for sticking to science fiction and the science having some premise on reality. I guess they had to ignore this one, right? For all intents and purposes, I have no issue having vibranium and aniantium being magnetized. By all means, throw Wolverine around like a rag doll. It's a make-believe metal. It might as well be magnetic. You know what I mean? Yes, aniantium, magnetic. Vibranium, magnetic. But I guess titanium, fucking is Magneto's weakness. And it fucking should be. But anyways, with that being said, we're going to move on to some other cool things. Well, everyone, I want to thank you for letting me into your home. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Your World Gaming News. I always have a lot of fun, and I tell you, I may have a good time with the drinks and the smoking, but I tell you, the best drink of all is good old quality H2O. It is the definitely healthiest thing you can drink on a regular basis. When you're having fun, obviously it's not number one, but on a day-to-day basis, H2O, water, goes a long way. If you like this video and you want to see more of this crap, I'm going to generically talk like a normal YouTuber and be like, hit the like button and hit the bell and be sure to subscribe. But honestly, if you do like this, jump in the comments. Your interactions really make the videos more enjoyable for me and make them a little bit more rewarding to hear your feedback and even sometimes see people have some banter and some debates back and forth. I hope Magneto sparks a little bit of conversation about the comic book fans because, it's all food for debate or food for thought. But now, anyways, with that being said, guys, with everything that has happened in this video, I hope you liked some of the things. Let me know the things you like specifically. I have a feeling Canadian Butters is going to be pretty popular. I'm going to give a little shout out to Canadian Gamer because I think at this point in his experience on YouTube, he'll be able to laugh at it and have a little bit of fun. Once again, shout out to the King of Retro for the intro. We had a lot of fun with that and all those wicked game stores and everything in between. I'm Alpha Nerd Entertainment. I'm going to thank you for watching. And until next time, keep it retro, keep it classy, and always be a gamer. Cue the music.